Hey guys, Coach Adam talking to you today about a very important topic, which is the post-show analysis. Now, we just did a podcast on this, on post-show analyzing of your physique, and I wanted to give you an example of what a pro bikini competitor post-show analysis looks like. What are we going to work on? What are we going to improve? How do we do it? How long do we need between the next show and now? Those are all the questions you should ask yourself, whether you're an amateur or a pro, and just trying to get to the next level. Now, today we're going to do it for the Nevada State Championships with the lovely Lena, one of my clients. She finished basically in the middle of the pack out of 20 girls. The second call out, I think ended up with 13th place here. And it's like, what do we need to do to get her to get to those higher ranking places? So we have to identify the problems, identify what we need to work on. And this is exactly how it goes. So the first things we need to look at with Lena is awesome physique, right? Obviously, looking at her physique, she's got great shape, great structure, great beauty, presentation is on point. All the things that you hear me talking about all the time in terms of bikini, she nailed. She got the hair color that has good contrast. She's got a suit color that has good contrast, good pop. She has her hair cut properly so you can see her lower back and waistline from the back. Her posing is on point. Her arms nice and relaxed, showing good shoulder width. Her shoulders are level. She's not pushing too hard on her glutes where her upper glutes are stretched out. She's got great tie-ins to her glutes, great hamstrings without too much separation. So everything's there that we need. If you look at it, it's really hard to identify where are the problems, okay? So you need a really trained eye. And that's one of the things I think is really important, is that you make sure that you're working with someone who has a very good eye. You need the eye in order to get someone and progress someone to that next level. Because how do you identify problems with someone who looks this good? It's very, very difficult. So looking at Lena closer, one thing I want to dive into is, okay, where's her balance at? Is her balance where it needs to be? Is everything look pretty balanced? And honestly, with her balance is there. Her balance is really good. She's got great. And when you look at balance, you go like this. You take someone from upper to lower body. We look at their upper body. We look at their lower body. And does it balance out? Is anything overpowering of anything else? And really, it's not. Then we look at them from the back. Is anything overpowering? Is she pretty balanced? Is her quads overpowering her upper body? Is her glutes overpowering her upper body? Nope. Shoulder development, shoulder to waist ratio, glutes, everything there is right on point. We're like, okay, balance isn't an issue. So we don't really need to build too much. Where are the issues? So now this one becomes really hard because you're getting to the next level of figuring out what are these issues that take her from middle of the pack to upper ranked bikini pro, right? So then we have to look at her next to other competitors. Is she too small next to them? And the answer to that's no, she's right on pace with her overall size. So it's really a tough one in this analysis of where we find the problems. And so looking at her overall physique, a couple things that stand out to me is just the density of her legs. The conditioning of her legs is good. It's not too much conditioning when you look at it. It's pushing it, and that's what I always say. You want to be right there where you're pushing it, but not go too far. You don't want to be the leanest girl on stage. You don't want to be the softest girl on stage. You want to be kind of right in the middle. And that was the reason that even Sandy said that Ashley won. She was right in the middle there at that show. Conditioning wasn't too hard, wasn't too soft. So it's exactly what we want to do for Lena now, is make sure that she's right in the middle. I would say she's pushing the limits just a little bit, and she's towards the upper end of lean. So she was probably like the fifth, maybe leanest girl there. So bringing her in a tiny bit softer would be a good idea. Now, the problem that we're running into with Lena, that you might run into yourself, is that we want to get just her legs softer. When you see someone with this type of tie-in, with this deep of a cut in the tie-in, she has a full tie-in for sure. It's not a super etched tie-in, but it's getting very close to a super etched tie-in. Definitely a little farther than I want it to be. But here's the issues that you run into as a coach from girl to girl. When we start filling her up and start getting her a little bit softer, her waist will generally get softer before her legs get softer. So there's going to be an exchange that you're going to have to make on some of these girls. Well, where you say, okay, you have a lot of density in your legs. And that's the thing that's hurting her right now, is the density in her legs. When I talk about, having pretty muscle, I kind of use it as a definition of when you see and I always use it's a bad kind of crude example, so I apologize for it. But the only way I can describe it is when you see like a horse walking and you see all those muscle fibers striding in their hips when they move, it's because they got a lot of dense muscle they can explode and run really quickly. You don't want to see that on a bikini competitor. You want to see the muscle fibers on a bikini competitor. And when you go there, it's just a little bit too far. And that could be from playing sports your whole life, from working out for 20 years, from lifting super heavy in the gym. I mean, just getting those muscle fibers just dense, and it just could be genetic too. You're just naturally a dense person that has a lot of grainy muscle fibers, right? It definitely becomes an issue in bikini when that happens. So here's the benefit to Lena. The benefit to Lena is her tie-ins and her lower body shape and overall detail is so extreme, and it's so good, even when her conditioning isn't crazy, that we can get her a lot softer and everything will still show up. Okay, we can get her a little bit softer, probably adding like 3 pounds of body fat on her legs, and she'll still show the tie-ins. She'll still show the hamstring roundness. She'll still show all these things. So the question becomes now, okay, how soft can we get Lena before her waistline really shows the price for it, right? Maybe we can push it 3 more pounds and her waistline won't be getting any bigger from the extra food. Maybe she won't be storing any more body fat after this point. So now that becomes the next trial ground. Okay, how soft can we get without getting your waistline too big? Is there different foods we can eat that make your legs not as dense? Can we purposely hold water on your legs going into a show? Maybe do things like have a hard workout right before the show and cause some inflammation before that. Can we change our cardio up to maybe cause some more water retention in the legs? And these are all the super advanced techniques that we are going to need from person to person. As you can see, when you get to that upper level, things change dramatically because now I'm trying to keep her waistline small, trying to keep her balance the same, but get her legs to not be so grainy while keeping the condition relatively the same. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at her posing, because this is where I think she gets exposed, is her posing. So there's a couple areas where she gets exposed for her graininess in her posing routine, and one of them is when she does her walk back. So now here's the thing about bikini. You don't necessarily need to do a walk back, and actually Sandy said she prefers posing routines on bikini competitors to be short and to the point, because the longer you're on stage, the more flaw she's going to see. She'll say, first I'll see someone when they come out on stage and I'm like, wow, that girl looks amazing. And then they do these 90-second posing routines. And then after I'm past the point of being like, wow, she looks amazing, then I'm like, oh, she needs more of this, she needs more of that. The walking exposes things. Oh, her conditioning, it really showed when she was walking, things like that. So short and to the point, even though current standard is posing with these long routines and going full walkbacks, and now they're doing double walkbacks on some girls. To benefit you the most, keep that posing routine short and to the point. He doesn't need this huge elaborate posing routine, and that is per Sandy. That is something that she specifically says, and she says it in front of pro shows too before a pro show starts. She says she doesn't need to see all that. She can see you pretty quickly when you do your basic posing routine, and she knows, who's where at that point. And the longer you're on stage, the more obvious the flaws become. So that's direct from her, and that is just a tip that she gives. Now, one of the things I do think that does hurt Lena is that when she does her walks, you really do see those muscle fibers twitching. You see the muscle fibers. It's not that she's too lean, but when she takes steps, the density is so great that you're seeing it at a much higher rate. She looks leaner when she's walking than when she's standing there. And so one of the things we're going to do is we're going to cut her walk back. We're going to cut her walking in the posing routine. We're just going to do a front and back posing routine, which there are top pros that do that. Just so you guys know, you don't need to do a full posing routine, full front and back. That is not a requirement by the IFBB by any means. So again, when we're talking about posing for bikini, you are showing your strengths and you're hiding your weaknesses. There's no other rules besides front and back. Okay. So you show your strengths, you hide your weaknesses, you build your posing routine around the best parts of your physique. If you're a wider waisted girl, there's no reason that you should need to be doing walkbacks and then walking forward, because when you walk forward, it's very hard to hide your waist. There's a lot of things that you could be doing. If you're transitioning if you're a wider waisted girl and you're transitioning all the way to the front, like maybe think about transitioning just from side to side. So you don't need to fully expose and open up your front core. So there's a lot of tricks that you need to be doing, especially as you climb the ranks. And especially if you're an amateur competitor trying to become a pro competitor, all these little tricks and these little things that we do, it is specifically to make someone look greater than they are. A lot of these pros, especially the top pros, you'll see them and you'll be like, man, they're so good. They're so other, right? And it's like, I'll never get a physique like that. Well, it's not that you'll never get a physique like that. It's that they don't have a physique like that either. But the way that they present it, it looks so impossible to achieve because they're doing exactly that. They're hiding all their weaknesses. They're showing all their strengths. And you just see this wow, perfect package. But I'll let you know this, every pro, even the top pros, even Miss Olympia for the last 20, what are 10, what are we at, 10 years, 15 years, has flaws. Okay. All of them have flaws. They're just not exposing them. They're not going to come out waist first, shoulders down so you can see everything. They're going to show you their best. They're going to hit the right angles. So all these little things make a big difference. So when I'm looking at Lena, I think the approach is let's see how soft we can get her before her waistline really goes out. Maybe we can spare a half an inch on her waist while still working on her posing. We can cut the back walk in the posing routine and so much of the walking in those in her routine because her leg density is really crazy. Maybe we can have some workouts before the show to give her a little bit of inflammation on those legs and cause more water retention and soften those legs up a little bit. What are some of the approaches that are going to work? So it's back to the drawing board to get her to the next level. And this is how it works on the pro level. This is how it works really on any level when you're trying to climb the ranks. But it is super important that when you do your show, you analyze your physique because that's the very rare time that you can pull back the curtains and you can see what everything looks like. We can pull all the fat back and say, okay, this is what my tie-ins look like now. This is what my shape looks like now. How do I get this better? What do I actually need to work on? When you have body fat covering, it's very difficult to see these things. So you get these few occurrences a year where you can really target your physique, target what you need to work on, and then do exactly that. And so it's really great that we got to get this pro show under our belt. We got to see a bunch of walking under harder lights, and we're like, okay, here's where we need to fix things. And thank you very much for Lena too, because Lena said, you know what, I would like it if you did a full analysis. It'd be cool for everyone to see it. And so she gave me permission to put this on here too. And but yeah, huge potential. Structure's amazing, beauty's amazing, lines are great. Just need to fine tune those legs, get the density to not show so much. And this is one of those things that is going to be very person to person. Now, here's the weird thing. She's not too lean. She's pushing it, but she's not too lean for bikini. But she might be too lean for her specific density of her legs. And we have to figure that out. Now, the problem is, again, how do we get her legs softer without blowing out her waistline, making it softer? So that's going to be the approach. How soft can we get? And then it's just a trial we're going to keep going through, and we'll find the happy medium for her to have her best physique. So kind of a fun one. I'm glad you guys get to see it. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.